Today we're going to take a look at knitted cast-ons. A lot of people use the knitted cast-on probably because that's what they were taught. It may be a little easier to learn than the long tail. But as far as the whole world of cast-ons goes, they're usually not the best cast-ons for several reasons. But all cast-ons have their place and they're good to learn. For one, the knitted cast on doesn't hold its shape real well, and if you look real close here, it leaves little holes. See those little holes in between the stitches? So it's not a necessarily attractive cast on, and it pulls out of shape. We're going to learn 4 different versions of this. I bet you didn't know there were 4. There's more than one way to do it. The regular knitted cast on. And if there's a knit version, that means there's also a purl version. So the purl knitted cast on. There's the open knitted cast on that actually makes little eyelets. It already has holes, but it's going to make more of eyelets in between the stitches, which I guess could be useful if you wanted eyelets in between your stitches. And the woven knitted cast on, which is probably the nicest of them all. You still have the little holes. It's kind of hard to see with the swatch, but there's little spaces there in between the stitches. It makes a firm edge, which can be desirable. You don't always want a firm edge. Sometimes you want more of an elastic edge, but it also helps prevent it from rolling. Emphasis on the word prevent. It doesn't mean that if you have a long edge that it's not going to roll, but it makes it less likely to roll. And excuse my really bad manicure. I went to this new place located in my bathroom. I gave her a 1 star. Unfortunately, I think I'll be back there again this weekend, but yeah, not a very good manicure. I'll be glad when I'm ready to go back to the nail place. Ours is open back up, but I drove by and saw the number of cars and figured the square feet in my head and thought, I think I'll wait. So without further ado, here's the knitted cast on.
The knit-on is a 2-needle cast-on. Both sides of this cast-on are identical, and contrary to its name, it does not create a row of knit nor of purl stitches. This is the basic knit cast-on. It tends to widen and would work best on stitch patterns that tend to widen, such as seed or garter stitch. Leaving a short tail, place a slip knot on the left needle. As if making a knit stitch, go through the stitch on the left needle, wrap and pull through a loop large enough to transfer to the left needle. Then repeat by knitting into this new loop, placing the loop back onto the left needle. If you throw your yarn, it would look like this. As you can see, there are no formed stitches from the cast on. The loops that were on the needle now hang sideways. I didn't get a very good shot of this, but maybe you can see here the stitches hanging sideways. Small holes are formed between these loops. This is a knit-on woven cast-on. It is actually just the basic knit-on cast-on, except you knit the following row through the back of each cast-on stitch. I don't actually have any footage of working these stitches through the back loop. I'm going to assume you know how to do this. But I do want you to see what a vast difference this makes. It produces a very improved woven edge. This solid color swatch gives you a better idea of how this would look on your actual knitting. It adds a very nice woven look to the edge, and it also helps take some of the curl out of stockinette stitch. This cast-on does result in a very firm edge, so you might want to use a larger needle. The needle size will affect the looseness or tightness of this cast-on. This is the twisted version of the knitted cast-on. Again, it is just your basic knit-on cast-on, except you place the loop on the left needle so that it is twisted. The left needle goes into the loop from right to left. The basic knit cast-on has little stability and can become stretched out. This twisted version firms it up some, although it is still not a cast-on I would normally use. I don't know if you can see it here, but it does leave holes between each stitch. Naturally, if you can knit it on, you can also purl it on. Begin as for knit cast on with a short tail and a slip knot on the left needle. Go through the stitch purlwise, wrap, pull through, and pull up. Place this loop on the left needle. This is easier than the knit on because you can leave the needle in the transfer loop so that it is already in position to wrap for the next stitch. And since this produces the same cast on as the knit on, they're interchangeable. And this is what it looks like if you throw your yarn.